Welcome back in, Geico Outkick Studios. I have no idea where he actually is, and I don't even know when he effectively left town. I think he was in mourning over the fact that the Dodgers were going to get eliminated, and suddenly he's reemerged. Danny G is on the road. When did you leave L.A., and where are you now?
It was the opposite of mourning, Clay, because I threw on my Dodger gear, and I got on the road early Saturday morning, and I drove from Burbank to Phoenix.
All right, so what was the reason? So you were on vacation right now for people out there who are wondering. So you're out Monday, and we're calling you early on Tuesday, so I appreciate you getting up early with us. But so you'll be back theoretically Wednesday, but then I'm going to be on secret assignment for Wednesday and Thursday, which I don't even know if you know anything about. We'll have to talk about this because you've been out. But so you drive from Burbank to Phoenix. Why?
Well, a couple reasons. I planned this just a couple of weeks ago because I have a friend here that I had been promising I was going to hang out with. Plus, I have family here. Shouts out to my Aunt Jackie, who lives in Chandler, which is right outside of Phoenix.
Yep.
And so I thought,
Aunt Jackie sounds like she'd be a huge Outkick fan, by the way.
Oh, you know what? She listens to our show on AM 1060 in Phoenix.
Oh, that's awesome. There you go.
Yeah. So she's definitely waking up with us on this Tuesday morning right now. And what's cool is we have a family connection to Bellinger, actually, because her son Dalton played alongside Cody in the 2007 Little League World Series.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you can appreciate that because you're heavily involved in Little League with your kids.
That's right.
So she was a team mom, so every time she watches a Dodgers game, she's like, I gave him orange slices. So it's pretty cool. I was actually watching Game 7 from Chandler, which is where Cody played Little League Baseball.
All right, so my 10-year-old, his world is crushed. Do you feel like you have stolen his joy as a Dodger fan, considering you're an old man? I didn't even he didn't even know, but I had booked a flight to Dallas to be able to take him to the World Series if the Braves were there. Because full disclosure, I have promised my kids a lot of things, like every parent, but from a sports fan perspective, what I have told them is if the Titans. So we already did this, and you know this, Danny G. I told them, hey, if the Titans ever play in London, I will take you to London. I didn't think, spoiler alert, they would ever play in London, or at least not very frequently. And then a couple of years after I said that, boom, they're playing in London. So we went over. That was an incredible event. Eddie Garcia was actually there, too. That's the first time I ever met Eddie in person because his wife is a big Charger fan. We were in Wembley Stadium. It was an awesome experience other than the fact the Titans got stopped on a 2-point conversion play to end that game. It was a fantastic game. And so we went to London. I've also told my kids, hey, if they go to the Super Bowl, the Titans, then I'll find a way to get tickets. We'll go, right? I've made that promise. And then the other one is for big, other sports they're big fans of. He's a huge Braves fan, my 10-year-old. I said, if they ever make the World Series, we'll go. And they were a game away, and it didn't happen. So I don't know about you. You're a big Dodger fan. I think this entire series changed when Mookie Betts made that shoestring catch and then gunned it to home plate. The Dodgers were down 2-0 in Game 5, and Marcell Ozuna was trying to tag up from third, and it was an incredible throw, incredible play by Mookie Betts, but he left early, and they punched him out, so that was a double play. And then certainly Betts has had 2 great catches in Game 6 as well and in Game 7. But I think that Game 5 catch, it's like it suddenly switched the momentum. A lot of people point to the offense, but I think it was the defense that energized things. Do you buy into it?
Yeah, I do, and it's interesting because we don't spend a lot of time talking about defense when it comes to baseball. Obviously, people are impressed by home runs, and then you hear all about analytics and how you can generate runs. And, obviously the Dodgers are a power hitting club, but they found ways to grind some runs out. And the Braves also were getting runs in clumps. And besides that, those defensive plays from Betts, I think that double play that Justin Turner made changed.
It was an incredible play.
Well
it was 3-2 at the time. The Braves looked like they were poised to at least probably with runners on the second and third with nobody out. it looked like they were going to at least get a run, right? I mean, a sacrifice
Yeah.
fly, a ground ball that allows them to score. And it was a heck of a play by Kike Hernandez, I think, right? Kike Hernandez, who fielded the ball and immediately came home and caught Dansby, I think it was, in a rundown.
Right, and when that ball got to Turner, he had to dive. He was obviously part of the rundown, and he had to dive to make the tag. For him to have the wherewithal to get up and turn around and throw the ball to third,
Yep,
was an amazing defensive play that I think was one of the MVP moments in that series. And it just overall, though, I got to say, man, and I know it's hard being an Atlanta sports fan. You talk about it a lot on the show.
yeah.
And several times on the air, you've also shared the story about that sorry Uber driver.
Yeah, I still think that's one of the most interesting conversations. The Uber driver, Atlanta area sports fan who just retired from sports.
Yeah, and I would have felt like that had the Dodgers choked this away early on, like it almost felt like was going to happen. I'm not the only Dodger fan in the country who felt like, man, I seriously want to retire baseball after this, especially with what happened with Kershaw, because he could have kind of been a hero had he been pulled out of that game one inning sooner. Had Gratterall started that sixth inning instead of him, then it would have been a different narrative for Kershaw. It would have been, wow, he did good at least for 5 innings. Instead, he had that horrendous collapse in the sixth inning, and all of a sudden it's the same old song and dance with Kershaw's woes in the postseason. So I really hope for his sake that going into game one, that Roberts just doesn't, leave him in the game too long. Like, get the best out of him you can get, and then pull him. Start another pitcher fresh instead of leaving him out there to struggle once he tires out. We know he's going on 33, so you just can't expect 7 full innings out of Kershaw nowadays.
Yeah, it is really interesting. And Kershaw, it felt like when he lost Game 4, was going to be one of the guys who everybody talked about as one of the best who never, right? The best who never with Dan Marino, that kind of category, which is one that is not really what you want to be in your career, especially as we get sort of gauge athlete overall resumes, with a huge portion of that resume being predicated on whether or not you actually won a championship. And now it feels like the Dodgers are massive favorites as we get ready for Game 1 later tonight. As a Dodger fan, do you feel like that? That basically you've come back from the dead, won 3 in a row, and it's not the same thing as what happened with the Boston Red Sox when they went down 3-0 and came back to win 4 against the Yankees. But it feels kind of like that. I mean, I would be at this point very surprised if the Rays won this series.
It's weird because I don't know what to think, because I honestly don't know much about the Rays. I mean, I had to look up their roster because I only know Margot and Morton. Maybe I think Zunino was the other guy I recognized when I was looking at their roster. A couple other names like Glasnow gets the start in Game 1, but they lack star power, but they have a bunch of grinders on a deep roster. So it's an interesting matchup because obviously a lot of the country is familiar with a lot of the Dodger players. As far as the Tampa Bay Rays go, how many Rays games did you watch this past season?
Oh, I mean, you guys. I mean, even the fact that we're talking about baseball. I'm saying, like we were talking earlier, Dallas, that stadium, that Arlington Stadium, every single fan almost is going to be a Dodger fan inside, right? I mean, there's going to be almost no Rays fans. I have never watched an entire Rays baseball game in my entire life, not once.
I've never seen anyone wearing a Rays jersey anywhere I've traveled. And when I was in Chandler on Sunday, I actually saw a guy wearing what was it? It was a Jaguars jersey. And I'm like, man, I've never seen a Jacksonville jersey in person, like on a fan. And I kind of feel that same way about Tampa Bay. If I saw a fan wearing a Rays jersey, it would kind of surprise me. I've never seen that before. We might get blown up by a few Rays fans on Twitter right now, but I don't hear from them. I don't see them. I don't know any. I've never met any. So this is a team that most of the country is unfamiliar with. I mean, I was looking at the odds last night. I guess the Dodgers are a minus 200 right now.
Yeah, that's right.
I hope the odds are right, man, because this has been such a long time, since 1988. I know it's been even longer for Atlanta fans. And back to that really quick, I was going to give Atlanta props. I know it's hard, but that team looks good. So I was thinking about your son during Game 7, but he does have some future years here that the Braves look like they are built to succeed and be in the postseason every year. So something exciting for him to look forward to. But like you said at the start, man, we're getting older. So me and the rest of my family, we're getting scared that we're not going to see a Dodgers championship because in 1988, we were little kids.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that's kind of the way I feel. Yeah. That's kind of the way I feel now when you get to be middle-aged.
It's going to happen for us.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I don't want to be the 80-year-old guy wondering if the Titans are ever going to win a Super Bowl. So the fact that they're 5-0, I'd like to just go ahead and get one banked and be like, all right, I've at least, all the years that you spend rooting for a team is not in vain if you get at least one championship out of it at some point. So you can feel that championship glory and that incredible feeling there. When are you back to L.A.? Will you be back tonight for the Game 1 of the World Series?
Yeah, so a little later this morning, probably in about an hour or so, I'm going to pack up and I'm going to jump on this 40 freeway right here that takes you to the Mojave Desert. And so that cuts me back into Southern California. So I'm going to time it out to where I get to Burbank right before Game 1 starts.
All right, so be safe on your drive. But as you finish and as you get on the road here, does it seem as crazy to you that Dodger fans are right now, probably as they're listening to us, some of them are waking up and getting ready to drive for early morning flights to Dallas, right? So you can't go to Chavez Ravine and sit in Dodger Stadium and watch a World Series Game 1, but you can go to LAX, you can go through security, you can get on an airplane, fly all the way to Texas and get out in Texas and go sit in the crowd and watch a game in person.
Yeah. Before I left town, I was having a conversation with my next door neighbor who's also a Dodgers fan. And he told me, he was like, you know what? I legit voted for Newsom. And he said, and I legit regret it right now because what I'm watching on college football game days, that should be what they're doing inside Dodger Stadium right now.
Yeah.
The way other states are handling social distancing at movie theaters, that's what we should be doing here in California as well. And yeah, it's dumb. Petco Park got to host the American League teams. Why can't Dodger Stadium host, the World Series and just do social distancing and everybody have a Dodgers or Rays mask on? Just follow certain protocol, make it as safe as possible. But sooner or later, we got to get some fans back into our stadiums in California.
Not only that, open up Disneyland. Right? I mean, I went to 2 games. I went to games to watch the Bills play the Titans, and I went to watch the Texans play the Titans. This weekend, I'm going up to Knoxville to watch Alabama destroy Tennessee in Neyland Stadium. But I do think there's a lot of sports fans in states that have not opened up who are putting on their television, and I think for a lot of Dodger fans that'll happen tonight, and they'll sit there and they'll say, wait a minute, there are 12,000 Dodger fans that are allowed to watch a game in Texas, and we can't do it in our own Dodger Stadium for the World Series? What sense does that make? And the answer is it doesn't make a lot of sense. Danny G, be safe on your drive back. Congrats to the Dodgers, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you. Go Dodgers.